live with that.
And my sister isn't putting any money into this.
You see, we have to think of the families too. They need to be, you know, we should go ahead and let the architect make some special redesign.
There it is. All right, okay. Can we do it with one? All right, Utilities Committee agenda.
Council Walsh?
Present.
Present. Council Lozey? Absent. Council Jacutis?
Present.
Present.
You want me?
The first item?
Okay, you want Brian?
Yeah, Brian, could you sit through this for us?
Council Field?
Present.
Cool.
Okay, we have the petition of National Grid for a grant of location to install conduits in front of 77 Broad Street.
All right, do we have anybody in favor? Anybody wants to speak in favor? This is for National Grid. Anyone from National Grid here? Yeah, if you want to come to the podium, are you speaking on 77 Broad Street?
Yeah, I live 73 Broad Street, and I'm not familiar with what you guys are proposing. So can you kind of bring me up to date as to what you're proposing?
So the person from National Grid who's proposing it doesn't seem to be here yet. So I'm going to ask the committee if we have a motion to
Motion
maybe
to table.
table this until we can talk to them and get some answers for it. Are you a motion to table?
Second.
You have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, tabled.
Okay. We have the petition of National Grid for a grant of location at the intersection of Sagamore and Washington Street, continuing 25 feet to install conduits from existing manhole on Washington Street to a street light cabinet handhole for City of Lynn new street light installation.
This looks like National Grid again. Is anybody here from National Grid? I'd entertain a motion to table
Motion
this
to table.
also. Table, we have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's tabled. Next item.
Petition of Comcast for a grant of location to install a new conduit to provide service to 98 Market Street.
Does anybody here from Comcast like to speak in favor? Just give us your name and your address.
Dave Llewellyn, Comcast, 9 Forbes Road, Woburn, Mass. Like to speak in favor of the Comcast petition to place 60 feet of conduit on Andrews Street to provide service to 98 Market Street.
What is 98 Market Street? What is that?
It's a commercial business. There's probably multiple customers in there looking for the service.
Okay, all right. All right, thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor on this one? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Seeing none, that part of the hearing's closed. Do we have anybody in opposition? Anybody in opposition for 98 Market Street? Anyone in opposition? Hearing none. Councilor Jacutis?
Motion to approve.
The motion
Second.
approved. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Right.
Yeah, under new business, I'd like to take off the table Walnut Street and Johnson Street for Externet, is it?
Okay, all right. Is anybody here from Exeter? Just come up for a second. Give us your name again.
Sure. Good afternoon, Rosanna Ferrante on behalf of Extenet.
Okay. So these are the cabinets that needed to be increased on these two locations, if I remember correctly.
Correct. So we have two small cell locations, which I believe you referenced, Walnut Street and
Yep.
Johnson Street, to come off the table for approval of small cells. Johnson Street also has an underground dig as well.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Sure.
Anybody wishing to speak in favor of those two locations? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Seeing none, that part of the hearing's closed. Anybody wishing to speak in opposition on them? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none, that part of the hearing's closed. What is the motion?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to
Second.
approve. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? They carry. Is there anything else on the agenda for tonight?
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn? Second? All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.
We'll see. All right. Licensing Committee, Tuesday, October 12th. Roll call, please.
Counsel Field?
Present.
Present Counsel Hogan?
Present.
Present Counsel Lozey? Absent Counsel Net?
Present.
Present Counsel Walsh?
Present.
Present. The first order is new taxi operator, Carwin Encarnacion, 604 Essex Street. Come on up.
Come to the podium, please. State your name. What is the wish of the committee?
Motion approved.
We have
Second.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, Carwin, he's here, right?
He was right here. Brian, remind him to grab his license. He's right over there.
Okay.
If anybody gets a license tonight, has to go to the clerk's office on Thursday morning to pick it up.
Yep. Thursday morning, your license will be ready. Sorry. Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. Kevin Fernandez, 16 Tilton Place. Kevin Fernandez.
Mr. Fernandez here. What is the wish of the committee?
Motion to table.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion's tabled.
Carlos Graniti, 29 Morris Street. Stand up, Carlos.
Mr. Graniti, what's the wish of the
Make a
committee?
motion to approve.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Mr. Graniti, Thursday morning in the clerk's office.
Okay, Domingo Rodriguez, 172 Washington
Okay,
Street.
Mr. De Rodriguez is here. What is the wish of the committee?
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Mr. Rodriguez, Thursday morning in the clerk's office, your license will be ready.
Okay. And we have Flor Rosado. Flor.
Rosados is here. What is the wish of the committee?
Motion approved.
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Mr. Rosado, Thursday morning in the clerk's office, your license will be ready. Thank you.
And Hector Velasquez. Hector?
Hector is here.
Motion approved.
Motion approved.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Mr. Velasquez, Thursday morning, your license in the clerk's office will be ready. Thank you.
And this gentleman raising your hand, are you all set? In the red?
Yeah, he's all set. Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
So is Mr. Fernandez here? Is Kevin Fernandez here? Yeah. Okay, everybody else is all set.
Just one thing. Anybody that got a cab license tonight, Thursday morning, you can pick them up down in the clerk's office. You're all set. You don't have to stay any longer here. You called your name already.
If we called your name and we approved your license, you're all set. Thank you. Thursday morning after 8:30.
And Do we have someone here from 350 Chestnut Street, Spa Royale? Royale? Okay, we're just waiting for, did you talk to Counselor Starbird? Okay, he'll be right here.
Come back to it. Yep. Did we do the sign license already?
Sure. We're gonna do the
361.
Sign license renewal, 361 Boston Street, Selena's Market.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's approved.
Yeah. We have a canning for our Lynn High School Jets hockey boosters, adults only, November 26th, 27th, and 28th, 2021.
What is the wish of the committee?
Motion approved.
Motion approved. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That canning is approved. Okay. Yep. He's in the white t-shirt, right? Motion to table. Table it. I think so.
Mass City Council will call you back.
Yeah, that's fine. Motion to go into executive session. Councilor Stiver, are you all set on that one or no? Are you all set on this property? No, okay. Do we have a motion to table the,
Make a motion to table.
okay.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that motion's tabled. Thank you. Any new business?
No new business.
No new business. What's the wish of the committee?
Motion adjourned.
Motion to adjourn. We have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. We're adjourned. The Recreational Cannabis Site Plan Review Committee meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Counsel Staben?
Present.
Present Counsel Chakutis?
Present.
Present Counsel LaPierre?
Present.
Present Attorney Lamanna?
Present.
Present Mr. Donovan? Mr. Donovan? Absent. Mr. Cowdell? Mr. Cowdell? Absent.
Okay, thank you. One item on the agenda, update and timeline of completion for the following cannabis sites. The Mass Green retail site to be located at 829 Boston Street. As you remember, a couple of weeks back, we had reports from all of the outstanding licensees to get updates on their build-outs and all, and there was a little confusion regarding this site, so we've put it back on the agenda for discussion, and we have Jordan Avery, Attorney Vitale, and two other representatives from Mass Green Retail. In your packets, there is a timeline that says there are timelines with the CCC, the Cannabis Control Commission, March 2021, application submitted, October 21, receipt of provisional license, April 22, post-provisional license inspection, April 22, May 22, receipt of final license, May 22, June 22, final inspection and commence operations. And on the build-out side, January through March of this year, construction of the foundation repairs, December 21, commencing of framing, January 22, commencement of exterior work, February 22, commencement of mechanical work, March 22, commencement of rough inspection, April 22, commencement of finishing work, and May 22, final inspection. So I guess you're hopeful to be up and running by June of 22. State your name and address, please.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the committee, Adam Braillard from Prince Lobel Thai. We're at One International Place in Boston, here on behalf of the applicant, Mass Green Retail. I think that those timelines that we submitted 2 weeks ago are still relevant. One of the big challenges that we were looking forward to obtaining, which we will believe that we'll get it on Thursday, is the provisional license from the Cannabis Control Commission, which helps us with final design and architectural review, so that then we can move forward to complete the final stages of construction of the facility. So I think our timelines are still on point. We really needed that. We filed the provisional, the request for the provisional license with the Cannabis Control Commission in March. Took them a few months to get us a deemed complete letter, which they did in August, and then from August to now, they have reviewed and for all intents and purposes have approved our provisional license, but we won't know that until during the hearing with the commission on Thursday.
Okay. And what does that have to do with the slowness of the build-out?
So part of the state requirements is that we go through a architectural review process. So we design the facility. You can only build. As counsel, we counsel our clients to not build your facility until you have your architectural review approval from the commission, from the Cannabis Control Commission. So that's what these folks have done. And we can't go forward with the architectural review until you have your provisional license. So you get your provisional license based on very rough, a rough design of the proposal. And then once you have your provisional license, then you go back to the commission and you submit your architectural review, what they call an ARC review, and that takes a couple more weeks for them. That's much quicker than the provisional. So a big part of the challenge for acting on any local approvals has been the timelines associated with the commission.
Attorney Lamanna, do you know, I don't know off the top of my head, remember when we granted this license? I know it was some time ago. I know there were the legal challenges with the town of Saugus to overcome, but it has been quite some time.
I do not know off the top of my head. It has been
an awfully long time. This is a priority applicant that would move to the front of the line based on the regulations, so it is disappointing. I viewed this location probably potentially the most profitable of all the locations. To see other businesses that were approved after Massachusetts Green Retail open, it is disappointing to me that someone has been involved in the process from day one. But I believe that the lawsuit was resolved in the fall of 2020, well before COVID. So to see the application submitted in March of 2021, that's frustrating on my part.
It has been quite some time. I think, and I certainly don't mean to single you out, but I think we're going to need more regular updates on this. And if there's not some substantial movement, that we may have to invite in other applicants who have kind of been banging on the doors, as this has been, quite some time. Councilor Walsh, who's the ward councilor in Ward 7 where this potential store is located, expressed his concerns with the condition of it. As it's very unsightly, and it's a gateway to the city as you come in from Saugus. It's been a long time. I'm going to ask that you come back at least once a quarter, an update. I guess the next one would be in January. By then, you have December 2021 that the framing work will commence. Exterior work, January 2022 is kind of up in the air weather-wise on exterior work, but I guess we'll see in January where we are on the build-out. Councilor Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did meet with Mr. Avery and the building owner down there on Thursday of last week. I voiced my concerns with the condition of the property. It was, even at that stage, it's still pretty rough down there. I told him some of the things I think we need to see done down there, and the property owner had told me he would be working on that in the coming weeks. So I was out of town for most of the weekend, so I didn't go by there today, but I can definitely double check it. But they did tell me that they would be working on that. So just as far as that end, I'm going to give them a little bit of time and take a peek back in another week.
Okay. Are you more comfortable with that, Councilor Walsh, if we have them?
Yeah, I don't have a
back
problem if
on
we
a regular
come in and get
basis?
updates. That's fine. Yeah, I think part of the thing that they've had with the lawsuit and the filing times is a little off, but hopefully we can have an update from them if they have a meeting this week, I guess, is what they said. So
Thursday.
yeah, we should probably require or request that they report on that at the end of the day, maybe, or even Friday. Would that be okay to do, maybe?
Mr. Avery?
Can I just ask
Yes, Councilor Lapierre.
to the chair, to Council Walsh? Counselor, when you spoke to the property owner, it's unrelated to the Mass Green sale, but I understand this is a shared building that Bianchi's was supposed to be coming. Did they indicate?
Pizza. It's all been about pizza for me. I want you to know. I'm dying for pizza.
Well, it's
all right.
it's
It's a big deal.
But they're having the same type of slow sort of rollout. Is there any update on that
So
side of the building?
this is the way, and I don't want to speak for the applicant, but I'll just tell you what,
Rolled out for these guys.
it affects both, right?
Okay.
So what's happening is there's an issue with parking and how the parking actually works out. That was what was told to me. They got some new parking schematics to try to make it work. They got some street parking there too. And they have to kind of wait. Now that they have that, they can kind of step forward. That's what I understand. At least that's what the property owner. I was more concerned about Bianchi's too.
They're still
Mr.
coming
Lapierre.
as far as
They assured me that there was still a discussion that Bianchi's wanted to be there. There's talk about an outside seating area, which would be great. And that all ties into that great rail trail that we have that's coming along down there. And it's just a little slower than I think we'd all like to see. And, I'd like to give the building owner the opportunity to clean it up a little bit in the next week or so, and then let's revisit again.
Thank you. We all get asked that a lot,
Yeah,
particularly
absolutely,
Bianchi's.
absolutely.
The
Thank you.
recreational marijuana, but particularly Bianchi's as well. Thanks.
Councilor Lapierre just wants a pizza.
I just want the
They
pizza.
probably go hand in hand.
I'm a big Bianchi's fan.
Thank you, Councilor Walsh. Any other questions from the committee?
If I just may add that the License Commission, Alcohol License Commission is calling in Bianchi's for a pocket license Thursday afternoon, asking those same questions. They've had a liquor license for a long period of time and haven't acted upon it.
Right, okay, all right, thank you.
Okay. So no votes to be taken, informational purposes. Like I said, we'll ask them to come back quarterly for updates as we move forward.
Do you want that in a form of a motion?
We can, yeah, if you want to put that.
I would second your motion and have them appear quarterly to this committee.
Okay, I can't make the motion.
Second?
Motion made by Counsel Lapierre, seconded by Counsel Chakutis. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Attorney Lamanna?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Donovan, absent. Mr. Cowdell, absent.
Okay, any other business? What's the wish of the committee?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Adjourn, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
He's going to give them to us during the presentation? Yeah. Do you want to do it now? Sure. We can follow along. Okay. My friend. You're old school.
Hi, Deb.
Say certain things.
How are you?
Thank you.
Huh?
Terry, you might want a copy of it.
Yes, yes, I know that. Yeah, it's on.
Sewer separation project, which has been ongoing. I think most of the residents probably see it on a daily basis. I know I do. And it's supposed to help with some of the flood mitigation and things that we have in the city here. So with that, I'd like you to open up and just tell us who you are a little bit and give us the presentation. Thank you. Yeah, let's take a roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Present.
Present Counsel Chakutis?
Present.
Present Counsel Calucci? Absent Counsel Field?
Present.
Present Counsel Hogan?
Present.
Present Counsel LaPierre?
Present.
Present Counsel Lozey?
Present.
Present Counsel Net?
Present.
Present Counsel Starbird?
Present.
Present Counsel Walsh?
Present.
Present Counsel Seer? Absent.
All right, if you guys could just tell us your name, where you're from, and a little bit about what's going on here. Thank you.
Sure, thank you, Counselor. My name's Anthony Marino. I think you guys all know me. I'm the Chief Engineer at the Lynn Water and Sewer Commission. The committee has asked us tonight to give an update on the Westland CSO project. Tonight, I have with me Dan Kucharski from Stantec, who is the head engineer and design for this project. The presentation consists of 16 slides. It should take probably about 15 minutes or so. Following the presentation, if you guys have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them. Thank you, and without further ado, Dan Kucharski.
Thank you for having me here tonight to discuss this very important project for the Lynn Water and Sewer Commission. Again, my name is Dan Kucharski. I'm with Stantec Consulting Services. We're located at 65 Network Drive, Burlington, Mass. Again, I'm the project manager. We've been working with Anthony and the Lynn Water and Sewer Commission on this project since early 2018 when we started the preliminary design phase. So what I'd like to try to do here tonight is sort of walk you through the project and give you kind of a high-level overview of it. It's a very complex project. There's a lot of moving parts, but we'll keep it at a real high level, and then at the end you guys can ask any questions that you may have. So this first slide just kind of shows the project area with respect to Lynn's municipal boundaries. As you can see, it's located near the Saugus River, Lynn Harbor. It's generally bounded by GE property to the west. We got Varnum and Minot Street here, Boston Street to the north, Pleasant Street to the east, and then the MBTA Railroad that cuts through the city here to the south. There's also a small portion of the project that extends south of the MBTA Railroad down to Lynn Harbor, and that's that little extension you can see there. We'll get into more detail on subsequent slides about that. So project's objectives. So what this project is it's a sewer separation project. So there's large areas of Lynn that are still serviced by combined sewers. That means that both the domestic sewage from properties and then stormwater runoff produced by storm events are carried by a single pipe and essentially conveyed to the treatment plant. During heavy rainfall events, the amount of stormwater that is discharged to the combined sewer system can sort of overwhelm the system, and what happens is you have backups. You have combined sewer overflows, so essentially a mix of stormwater and domestic sewage that can discharge to local water bodies. This map up here, it's a little tough to see, but shows the 4 CSO locations that are in Lynn. We have 003 near the Saugus River, 004 and 005 in Lynn Harbor, and then 006 up here at Kings Beach. So those are the 4 CSO discharge locations. So the intent of this project is to reduce the amount of stormwater that's getting into the combined system and then reduce the overflows that go to these 4 locations. So we're essentially taking that stormwater out. The other benefit of that is obviously there's enhanced water quality, right? Because we're not going to have that domestic sewage going to the local receiving water bodies, but we're also freeing up capacity in the combined system by taking out that water. So we're reducing the hydraulic grade lines in the pipe and reducing flooding as well. So the project has a number of benefits. Scope of work, so doing sewer separation in 250 acres of Westland. So sewer separation basically involves the installation of new gravity storm drains to convey that stormwater runoff. So we're taking that out of the combined system. In addition to those gravity storm drains, we're also installing a new outfall. We need somewhere for the stormwater to go, and that's going to be a new outfall that's located along the Lynn Harbor. Just due to the topography of West Lynn and where it sits relative to Lynn Harbor and the Saugus River, you need a pump station and a force main to discharge stormwater runoff from that area because it is so low. So as part of the project, we're installing or constructing a 94 million gallon a day stormwater pump station and a 54-inch diameter force main that will go from the pump station to Lynn Harbor. The pump station is located in Neptune Boulevard Park. We'll get into some more details on that on subsequent slides. And the force main is going to come from that new pump station down Commercial Street through treatment plant property along Riley Way and then discharge to this new outfall. So in conjunction with the pump station construction, we're also doing some off-site mitigation. We had to take some land to build the pump station in Neptune Boulevard Park. So we're also doing some improvements at a park along the Saugus River, and we'll get into a little more detail on that in a minute. This slide here shows the phases of construction. This is a multi-phase construction project, so there's 5 phases total, and you can see them up here, 1 through 5. So phase 1, which actually started construction in June of 2020, is almost substantially complete. They're finishing up with some paving work this fall and then into next spring, but that's essentially complete. So that's just straight sewer separation. That's new storm drains going in to, again, take out that storm water from the combined sewer system. So then we have phase 2, which is located down in this area. That's the force main and the outfall that I was talking about earlier. And that construction on that started in June of 2021. And they're just really getting underway now with excavation work. Then we have phase 3, which is the construction of the pump station, and then the remainder of the force main that's not being installed under phase 2. And then we have additional sewer separation work in phases 4 and 5. And then also highlighted on this map is the Saugus River Park site, which we are doing improvements to mitigate the land taking at Neptune Boulevard Park. So the sewer separation work that I'm talking about involves the installation of approximately 26,000 linear feet of new storm drain piping with sizes ranging from 12-inch up to 72-inch. In addition to installing storm drains, the Commission's also going to be installing deep sump catch basins. So those are, that will effectively increase the efficiency of the catch basins in terms of sediment removal. You know, any dirt or debris that's on the roadway will be captured better by these new deep sump catch basins. So a deep sump is just, it has essentially an area to hold sediment before it's discharged to the mainline drain system. So all those catch basins are getting replaced. And then in addition to that work, they're also doing some private property inflow removal. So if there's existing site drainage systems or roof drainage that goes to the combined sewer, they're also picking that up as part of that sewer separation work. The Commission has decided to take a holistic approach to the sewer separation work. So in addition to putting in these new drains, they're also replacing and rehabilitating existing sewers where they're in the streets. And they're also replacing water mains, either due to size, age, or condition. So with all 3 facilities being replaced in any given street, and at some points they're restoring all the roadways with full curb-to-curb pavement restoration. So if we just take a closer look at the sewer separation areas, again, that's phases 1, 4, and 5. They're all shown on this map here. The blue lines are storm drains, new storm drain facilities that are being installed. You notice a couple areas that are blank and don't have storm drains proposed in them. That's because there are existing storm drains in those areas, but they discharge back to the combined sewer. So part of this work will be to pick up those separated drainage systems and tie them into the new system that we're developing. And then there's just there's 3 areas highlighted here just so you get an idea of where the stormwater is going. This area up to the north in red The storm drains are going to discharge to a system that goes to the Saugus River down here. This cyan or blue area over here will be taken out to Lynn Harbor in the vicinity of 04 and 05, those two CSO locations I had identified before. And then this yellow area that's highlighted here, that stormwater from that area will be going to the new pump station that's going to be constructed in Neptune Boulevard Park. So a little bit about the new force main that's being installed. There's approximately 4,000 linear feet of 54-inch ductile iron force main. It's actually zinc coated on the outside of it to prevent for corrosion. So this pipe's going to be very robust and last a number of years. About 3,000 feet of it, the 3,000 feet closer to the harbor is going to be installed by traditional cut and cover excavation. So they'll have an excavator out there, they'll dig the trench, they'll put the pipe in, they'll backfill. But then there's about 1,000 linear feet of the force main that's going to be tunneled. So it's going to be tunneled from just south of the Linway up Commercial Street to the park site where the pump station is going to be located. Again, I had mentioned previously that they're going to be constructing a new stormwater outfall where the majority of the flow from the project area is going to go. That's going to be located at the end of Riley Way. Right before it discharges to the harbor, it's going to transition to an 8x6 box culvert. It's going to poke through a steel sheeted seawall and then discharge. We've actually incorporated a bunch of energy dissipation measures in both internally in the system and then externally to slow down the water as it discharges to the harbor. There's going to be a riprap apron at the end, at the discharge, to handle the tributary flows that are discharged. And then we've also implemented a number of safety measures because there is going to be a wall there. There'll be fencing, safety grate to prevent public access. This next slide just sort of locates the force main and the outfall a little better for you. Again, we have this section of force main here that's going to be tunneled from the park to south of the Linway, and then we have about 3,000 feet that's identified in red here that's going to be cut and cover excavation, and then we have the new stormwater outfall down here near the harbor, and the picture on the right shows an approximate location of where that new outfall is going to be constructed. It's actually adjacent to two other outfalls located nearby. So it's not going to change the land use or anything in that area. So the new pump station itself is going to be located in the southwest corner of Neptune Boulevard Park, or McManus Field as it's referred to sometimes. The pump station itself is going to consist of a 40 by 50, so about 2,000 square feet above grade electrical building, and then the remainder of the station is going to be underground. So there's going to be an inlet chamber with screens on it to prevent large debris from getting into the pump station. There's going to be a large wet well that's buried that has the submersible pumps in it, and then it's also going to have a rather large discharge vault, which is again all underground. As you can see here, we're going to have that 94 million gallons a day, which is an awful lot of flow. We're going to have up to we'll have up to 5 pumps operating at once, and these are fairly large pumps. It's a little tough to see on the screen, and maybe a little tough to see in the handout, but this slide shows the easement that's going to be taken by Lynn Water and Sewer Commission to site the pump station. Again, it's located in the southwest corner of the parcel. It's about 0.66 acres of land relative to the 9.4 acres for the overall site itself. This next slide gives you a little more detail on what the final finished product's going to look like for the pump station. You can see to the right here the electrical building called out. Again, that's that 40 by 50 above grade electrical building. And then this other white area just to the left of that is that rather large wet well, valve vault, inlet chamber structure that I was talking about before. And then one of the other things we're doing as part of the project is, we had to find a location to site the pump station, and the park was one of the best spots just because of the availability of land there. But there was a little bit of an issue with the Article 97 Massachusetts legislation that was passed back in 1972, which protected parkland. For the commission to use that parkland for another purpose, they had to mitigate off-site and find another place to establish dedicated parkland. So we visited a number of sites, and we found the old Westland Little League field that's located off of River Street Place, Bates Street, and determined that would be an optimum location to try to site new parkland. So we've been going through that process for a while. We're working with some of the city councilors to come up with a plan for out there, and we've pretty much established a plan that we're gonna implement. Basically involves a rehabilitation of the former baseball field, removing debris, a fence, regrading some parking area at the end of Bates and at the end of River Street Place, installation of new walking paths, construction of a seating and picnic area, and then revegetation of the area with native plantings. So, the park will provide a safe place for, residents of Lynn to connect and enjoy the outdoors and just be active. So it was kind of a nice little side benefit from siting the pump station at the park. Some of you may have already seen this, but this is just an overview of the improvements at the park. You can sort of see on the handout and on the slide above sort of the outline of the old baseball field that was there way back when. A lot of the outfield was actually determined to be salt marsh, so we're going to actually let that grow into and have sort of a native look there. And then you can see we've got some walkways identified there. Those are those white areas that kind of bisect the parcel. And there'll also be a picnic area right in the middle. And then we're doing some improvements to both entrances. Last slide here just kind of gives an overview of the cost and schedule for the entire project. As I had mentioned on the phasing slide, phase one, we started construction in June of 2020, slated to end in April of 2022, and you can see the slides and the overall schedule for the subsequent phases. But in total, the project will have started in June of 2020. And we'll be looking to finish up in October of 2024. And you can see the cost is approaching $80 million. So that's kind of my high-level overview. I think we can take any questions the council might have at this point.
Councilor
I
Hogan.
can start off. I've got a couple of questions. I got a lot of constituents that have been calling me for various things. Obviously, we said we're going to curb-to-curb repavement. The Wood Street area, as we know, that's a mess. So when are we going to start on that area there, the Wood Street area off of Summer Street?
So the initial paving phases are going to go this way.
Could you just speak into the microphone so people at home could hear? I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry. So approximately 25% of the curb-to-curb paving will be done before the winter of this year. That's the initial work that was in the Federal's Center Street area, the Upper Reach, which is the earlier part of the construction phases. Typically, when you're digging and installing utilities, especially since we're doing all three, drainage, storage, and water, those type of installations need quite a bit of time for settling. So that section of the city will be done now before the winter. Approximately 75% of the rest of the project, although there'll be cleanup and temporary paving, we need to give that some time to settle. A good 12 months is not unrealistic, especially going through a winter season is not unrealistic. So we're looking at that in early spring. But clearly, PGOso and Son is the contractor we're working with. They do have a time schedule and a contract, and they're well within the construction time limits. I just think you're going to get a better product in the spring if we wait and let that part of the construction settle.
All right, I just have a couple more things. The island over by South Street and on South Common.
Yep.
That was pretty much, you guys had it as a landing zone for a lot of stuff.
Yep.
That's on a major cleanup. I have an answer to a lot of these questions, but I have constituents watching, so I just want to, put that out there also.
Sure. So again, PGOso and Sons is a very, very good contract. We worked with them for many years, especially in the past, back in the 90s and early 2000s. They did use that facility to store a lot of equipment, and thanks that the city was allowed to let them do that because it certainly helped with the construction. They plan on bringing that to as good, if not better, shape. I got a guarantee for them that that'll happen. I think the DPW even requested there's a tree on the property that wouldn't have been their responsibility, but they volunteered to take that tree down. I'm not sure if it's half dead or what's, but we will absolutely work with you. I have their word, and we've had that discussion in our bi-weekly meetings several times. So if there's any issue with that, just give me a call, and I'll make sure that that's back to where it should be.
Absolutely. These are things that people have brought to my attention that I wanted to ask it on this public forum, just so then we could have it recorded, and then I can have people go to this slideshow and they can get a lot of questions answered. One more thing, the bar rocks and screenings in the pump station at McManus Field, who's going to maintain that?
So currently, we just went out for an RFP for a 20-year contract with the wastewater treatment plant. Veolia was the current 20-year operator of it. Suez won the new contract. They began in July 1st of this year. We anticipate entering into negotiations with them once the pump station is built, and hopefully we come to a good agreement on that, and they would be the ones that would maintain it. Again, the pump station, the stormwater pump station, and obviously the wastewater treatment pump station, they sort of work hand in hand, so it would be appropriate for them to operate it. We have not gone down that road because, as Dan alluded to earlier, the pump station is not constructed yet. It's going to go out to bid in October, end of October, early November. It's a very expensive pump station. We're estimating $30 to $35 million pump station. 96 million gallon pump station, might be the largest on the eastern seaboard. Pump station. But we anticipate they'll work with us.
Now, one more final question that I'll have, and I'll leave some up to my colleagues, is on the Saugus River Park, what you guys refer to, which is the old Edmonds Field, which is down behind River Street. A lot of the residents have been real happy with us as a community because we cleaned that thing up by ourselves. I mean, meaning we took truckloads of trash out of that that's been there for 20 years. And Geosa, the contractor, just resurfaced the parking area, which was done, was pretty good. We had some other things brought in. When do you think that park would be completed? I get that from a lot of the residents down in that area.
Yeah, I think I'll defer that to.
Yeah, so there's actually a very long permitting process that we have to go through with both the Army Corps of Engineers and DEP Waterways just to get the plan approved. We don't have a definitive timeline right now. We do have a permitting schedule that we've outlined, and we're looking at getting the requisite permits next spring. It's our intention that we most likely bid that with one of the latter phases of construction, so either 4 or 5. We would incorporate those improvements into that package, and competitively bid that so that the city gets the best cost on it.
All right, now I'll take a break for now and open up to my colleagues here.
Anybody else have any questions? Council Lozey?
Yes. Hi, Dan. Hi, Anthony. As most of you know, and some of you might not know, but I served as the council representative on the Lynn Water and Sewer for 12 years, and I've had the pleasure of working with Anthony Marino, the chief engineer, who I found to be very professional and knowledgeable and very capable. Dan, I haven't had the pleasure of meeting or speaking with you before. So getting right to this, so we're looking at a $78 million project, this CSO sewer separation project. Does that include monies that have been spent to date in preparation for this, for, say, design or any of the work leading up to this?
No. So typically, design work for a engineering project of this size is about 10% on average. So Stantec has been contracted to do the design. As Dan alluded to, we've completed phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. They're currently working on 4 and 5. So you could probably throw a 10% number at the final number, Wayne. That would probably throw it.
Another 8 million or so, 8-10 million.
Yeah. Yes. Part of the oversight and construction management of it is covered under the SRF program. That's a state revolving fund. But all design work is not covered under that.
So that has to be bonded.
That has to be bonded from our own revenues, yeah.
Thank you. So the main concept, though, I just want to get to this. The CSO sewer separation, what's the primary objective? Dan, I know you mentioned earlier that, heavy rain events, it backs up to local water bodies. We want to enhance water quality. It's going to reduce flooding, you mentioned. Just curious, like the water bodies, wouldn't the harbor be included in that concern as the main water body that the CSO, why the regulatory agencies are coming after the city to perform this work? Is that?
That's correct, yep.
Okay.
004 and 05, which I had up on the slide earlier, are both discharged to Lynn Harbor. Yep.
And what other local water bodies were you referring to other than the Saugus River and the harbor?
Just those two. Well, there's Kings Beach, which is 006, which is further north, which I guess technically is in Lynn Harbor.
Okay. And when you mention reducing flooding, this is not a flood control or flood project. This is a CSO sewer separation project, correct?
That is correct, yep.
Okay.
But, you do get some, because you're taking water out of the system, you're lowering the grade lines in the system, so there is some added benefit of reducing, because you're taking out 260
We're pumping
acres.
stormwaters into that new outfall. And so which leads me to ask you, how much of the flooding or reduction in the flooding do you expect that this project will achieve?
I'd honestly be guessing. I mean, we've developed some hydraulic models for the commission of their combined sewer system, and we've tried to quantify results, but we don't have good metering data from any local rainfall events, so it's tough for us to calibrate. It's tough to really put a number on that, to tell you the truth. And that's part of their overall CSO program is to do post-construction monitoring of these things to see how well they work. I mean, we don't know exactly how well it's going to work.
So Dan, in other words, we could have...
If I could answer that one.
Yes.
So the system is a dynamic system with a western interceptor, which is the project area we're working in, and the eastern interceptor. And they are related, and they do, eventually the flows come together right outside the plant. So the first 5 phases and the $78 million that we're constructing now is really phase 1. Phase 2 would be after this is separated, we would look in the 4 and 5 areas, which are mostly contributed to the eastern interceptor. So the idea is to do this separation, reduce the overflows on 003, and then move to the next phase, which would be 4 and 5, and hopefully that would
Right.
bring a
Thank
further
you,
reduction.
Anthony. Without getting too technical on it, though, I'm trying to get, and hoping that the viewer will understand, too, what we're doing here. So getting back to what percentage of the flooding will be relieved or addressed, remedied, we can't put a number on it. Is it 20%, 30, 40? I mean, where are we in the ballpark of 20 to 50, greater than 50? Is there some range that you can at least come up with that is close?
So the design was to eliminate a 5-year storm with a future 10-year storm. I should say, it's the other way around. A present 10-year storm with a future 5-year storm. So we're looking at being able to reduce currently something that would be a 10-year storm.
So in a 25-year, 50-year, 100-year storm event, it's not going to make a difference?
Well, it'll make a difference, but it won't, the design to facilitate that type of storm isn't.
Okay.
isn't
So
part
it's
of it.
really not addressing that. And I think the reason I'm bringing this up is a lot of people were pushing this project that they wanted it to address flood control, and it's not we're spending $90 million and it's not going to address the flooding. So I'm just like, wow, which leads me to my next question. $90 million for improvements for the heavy rain events up to a 10-year event to enhance stormwater quality to a better water quality. What is that going to do to the rates? Have we had modeling done for what it will do to the rates in, here it is, we're in 2021. So we're looking at a little over a year or 2 years. What are the rates going to do in the next 2 years after we spend $90 million?
So probably a better question for the treasurer at the commission. But I think looking at the current numbers, every $10 million we borrow is going to be approximately $477,000 of a yearly payment. The commission has a $30 million budget, so probably every $10 million we spend is probably 1.5% on the rate.
As long as our bond
Yeah,
rating
that's-
doesn't go up, or
Yeah,
not ours, but the water and sewers bond rating, if their debt isn't too high and the bond rating stays down. And, but that's a lot of money. So you're not able to really say how much the ratepayers' rates are going to go up, but I would venture to guess they're going to go up significantly for this work. And very ambitious, too, to get this done in 2 years. One other thing that I'm just curious, and I didn't want to go too in-depth, but the outlet, Dan, you mentioned there's going to be some energy dissipation designs built in. And what was the size of that outlet? 8 foot by 5 foot?
6 foot by 8 foot, yep,
6 by 8?
Yep.
That's quite a flow coming out of there.
it is.
And your design, or you're going to design something to mitigate that
Yep.
dissipation? Wow, I'm just like that. That's going to be quite an accomplishment. And this 6 by 8 pipe that is going to have to be built under the Linway, no?
No, so it's a 54-inch pipe all the way from the pump station to just upstream of the outfall.
Then it meets.
Then it transitions to a larger structure, in part to slow down the velocities. There's also some some devices inside the, or some features inside the box culvert that will slow things down a little. And then we have a big riprap energy dissipation basin at the outlet.
Yeah, that sounds about right, that you're going into a larger pipe, and so you're gonna have room to put different dissipation, energy dissipation measures within that system. But the 54-inch is gonna go under the Linway. When is that work gonna take place?
So that's being done in conjunction with Phase 3, which is scheduled to start construction in January. I would anticipate that they would do the force main work first, although we haven't dictated in the contract. So it would be my guess that that would be done spring of next year.
Is the force main scheduled to be in Phase 2?
The cut and cover excavation portion of it is Phase 2, and then there's a tunnel portion of it that's done under Phase 3.
Okay. So how long will people expect this construction to go on the Linway? Is it a month, 2 months, 3 months?
So we're going to have one pit on the south side of the Linway in Commercial Street near the DPW yard, and then the tunnel is going to be constructed underneath the Linway all the way to the park. So Linway traffic really wouldn't be impacted, but you are going to have a large pit on Commercial Street in front of the pump station site for a number of months while that tunnel's being installed.
Okay. And I just want to go back, Anthony, I would request if you could, I think it would be helpful for the counselors, myself, that if we had a handle on an idea of what these costs are going to be for our ratepayers here in Lynn, if you could please request the treasurer to do his analysis on that and just give us an idea in the next couple, 3 years, what our rates here in Lynn are going to go up. It would be helpful to know. And I think it's going to be almost tragic, the cost of this project and what it's going to do.
Councilor Lozey, we get somebody else to have a question?
Yeah.
If we could, please. We're under
Okay.
crunch time here. Thank you, Mr. Field.
All right.
Council Field?
Thank you, Chair. Quick question. Now, this is all mandated work by the federal government, correct? So
Correct.
There's no decision for us as a community to say we don't want to do this, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And my other question is, are there other utilities like National Grid or anybody taking advantage of the opportunity with the streets all being opened, with gas lines or electrical lines that are on some streets, conduits being run? Is there a combination project, opportunity for them to be doing it while those streets are open?
Yes, definitely. There's some synergies with the gas company. For Phase 1, the gas company came in and relayed a bunch of their old cast iron mains ahead of us. That actually allowed us to install some of the proposed facilities in better spots. And likewise in Phase 4 and 5, we're entering talks with them to have some of their infrastructure replaced as well at the same time.
And that's not because it impedes the process of what you're doing. It's more just to replace their old lines like they're doing in other parts of the city, so we're not digging up new streets that are already paved to replace their lines too, right?
Yeah, a little bit of both, but more so they want to get in and replace their old infrastructure at the same time. But there are some cases where they'll move their stuff for us. Yeah.
Councilor Lafayette?
If I could just add one more thing to that, we've also looked at replacing some of the sewer lines and water mains. Obviously, this is the oldest part of the city. Some of those water lines are 100 years old, and the sewers are even older. So, yeah, part of this, obviously, with conflicts and putting a large drain down the street, we move forward with improving the rest of the infrastructure for the commission also.
Councilor Lafayette?
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I have a comment, and the comment is that it's equally tragic, I will say, that we've waited as a city 26 years to do right by our Westland neighbors. In 1995, and Anthony will know this could have been done at a fraction of a cost, because when we did the East Lynn combined sewer overflow. and costs go up. So, we can't just look solely at cost. I know it's a big factor and indicator, but look at the things that we're going to be getting, the improvements we're going to be making. If we had done this years ago, we wouldn't be having this presentation tonight. So it irks me that one side of the city, we had the wisdom or the knowledge back in the 90s to do this, but we didn't do it for our Westland neighbors, and now we're catching up, and now we're going to complain. This vote was taken. The commission has had the wherewithals to take the vote. It's got to be paid for. I'm sure you'll tighten up belts at the water and sewer to make this work. You'll borrow what you need to, but this is for informational purposes. And as far as I'm concerned, it needs to be done no matter what. So we can bellyache about it and about the costs and what it's going to cost folks, but in the end, it's going to improve the streets of West Lynn. Because right now, we are all out pumping people's basements every time it's flooded. And we have firsthand accounts of this happening. And it's all across the streets of West Lynn. It's not happening around East Lynn or up in the Ward 1 area or Ward 2 or parts of Eastern Avenue because they address this. And no system is perfect, and there are storms that are happening that are historic. We haven't seen the amount of storms in that frequency over the last several years. So when we look at what's being done and how we're going to get there, we also have to measure that by what it's going to be like when it's all done. So we have to really put our stock in the commissioners that are currently on that commission, that have taken that tough vote. Yes, we understand it's expensive. Everything is. If we waited another 20 years, it'd be $200 million. So look, let's get this done. Thank you for your time. And let's move forward. I know we're over time. Thank you.
We're running over time.
Yeah, I just,
Quick
question, just to kind of redirect this, and Dan, how many other communities have you been doing CSO work for in your time at Stantec?
I've done a lot of work with Boston Water and Sewer Commission.
Several of them. So there are several communities, it's fair to say, that are under mandates required to do this CSO work. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct.
And would it be fair to say that there's a lot of communities that are mandated and required that aren't doing the work right now, that are not required to do it because they're mandated, but they're not under a consent order to do it? I know of at least 22 communities right outside of Lynn that aren't mandated, required under a consent order, but Lynn is. Is that fair to say?
Yep, that's accurate.
Yeah. So just to let you know, where Councilor LaPierre mentioned costs, we could have done it sooner. It seems like we're getting picked on in the city of Lynn, requiring to do this when it's not, in my opinion, 90 million, whether it was 90 today or 25 million 10, 15 years ago. We're kind of going overboard with our water quality on stormwater. And we're not relieving street flooding, as Councilor LaPierre said. This is only going to address up to the 10-year storm events. So these Westland streets are still going to flood. So it's not no amount of money, throw money at it and hope that we solve the problem. And look, it's a done deal. I don't want to belabor this, but thank you for your update and information on this.
Thank you. I just real quick, I just want to say a couple things. I'm going to echo what my colleague LaPierre said here. And I'm a plumber, so I think everybody knows that. I've been in a lot of basements. If anything we're going to improve is people not having raw sewage backed up into their house, okay? So if we can at least give those people that satisfaction that are in that area, that are current ratepayers, as we always say, that are paying the same amount of money, as far as I'm concerned, as the rest of the city, I think that's unfair to say that they shouldn't get that same benefit that most of the other areas had. So as far as flooding goes, those are things we're going to have to discuss going forward. I think there's other things that are going to have to be tacked onto this to alleviate some of the stormwater issues. I just had one question to ask you. Does the pump station have compensatory storage?
No, it's essentially an in and out pump station. The wet well is about 440,000 gallons, so that's not a lot.
All right, and is there a generator in case the power goes out in that neighborhood to operate that pump station?
Yes, there is a generator.
Okay. And Outfall 003, is there going to be any more affluent or outfall in water coming into the river in that area, part of this project?
Will there be water? Can you repeat the question?
Is there going to be more flow added to 003?
Yes, there's a small area, that red outlined area that I had identified on the sewer separation slide. Okay. That is stormwater that will be going to 003.
Okay, all right. I want to thank you guys. I think we've ran over time here a little bit. I appreciate you coming here. I look forward to seeing some more updates. I know Councilor Hogan in his area, because this has been mostly the area it's affected by this, has been on it, and obviously on that park exchange as far as trying to build up some more parkland in the city and in his neighborhood. So I appreciate your time, everybody. I'm going to motion to adjourn.
Second.
This evening, we have a presentation on, from Bill Bachnick from EDIC on behalf of Ranscom Engineering regarding the former White's Laundry site on Willow Street. Many people know this is a well-known contaminated site. The board of EDIC received an update at their meeting 2 months ago, and I thought it would be a good idea to have a presentation made before the Public Property Committee, since it is a City of Lynn public property that was taken due to tax foreclosure. So, Bill, thank you for joining us. Everybody should have the slides in your packet.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the opportunity to come and present this to you this evening. This is an overview of what the work we have done to date as it pertains to 83 Willow White's Laundry. Our LSP unfortunately wasn't able to be here tonight, who had created the presentation that was in your packets. So I'll try to give you a general overview of what she had presented to our EDIC board and hopefully answer any questions or relay those to our consultant for follow-up if you do have additional questions. So back in 2016, the city took White's Laundry as a tax taking. It enabled us at that point in time to apply for assistance through our partners on the state level. Primarily that's mass development. As a result of the city owning the property, it enabled us to leverage close to $200,000 in assessment funding that we were able to get a better understanding on what we needed to do to try to begin cleanup on the site. And that led to applying for additional funding through mass development that enabled us to do a bench scale treatment study, along with what we were able to do is modeling the technique that has been used on site to begin this cleanup. So those two projects were about another $200,000. And this past July, we were able to move forward with $250,000 of our actual cleanup that had taken place actually during the tropical storm Elsa, which caused some issues on site. But we're happy to share with the council that nearly $600,000 has been aggregated to put towards trying to clean up the White's Laundry location. In July, the remedial injections that were done consisted of in situ chemical oxidation. It's a subsurface technique that's used to try to control and treat the chemicals that are on site. They are primarily cleaner chemicals that are chlorinated volatile organic compounds, CVOCs. So they're PCEs that are very challenging in light of where it's located within the downtown and in light of the fact that it's such a small property and there has been off-site migration that's taken place. We are going to be going back on site over the next few months to determine how effective the treatment was and to determine if there's additional work that needs to take place. Ultimately, we've also applied through our partners at Mass Development for a site readiness grant. It would give us a chance to take a look not just at White's, but the parcels that are surround White's to determine what could be potential future reuse and how we kind of take that next step once we're able to come back and say we've accomplished our goal at 83 Willow. The other piece that we'll be working on over the next few months is we'll be applying for about $500,000 through EPA. That will be additional cleanup dollars that we'll use, hopefully, to treat some of that off-site migration that's taken place. We applied last year. Unfortunately, we were not successful. Some of the feedback from our colleagues on the federal level had just mentioned that the site was really small to try to incorporate what the larger impact of the cleanup will be for the city of Lynn moving forward in the future. So we'll be working with our partners in the planning office now to have a more robust application submitted December 1st. So in general, that's kind of where we're at right now with White's. We're hopeful that in the near future we'll be able to come back and report that the remedial injections did their job, and then we'll see what the site readiness study will say, along with if we were able to tackle some of the off-site migration as well.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Anybody have any questions? I just want to add, I thought it was the presentation that we had from the engineers was quite impressive, and good to see how injecting that chemical into the ground kind of neutralizes and reacts with some of the stuff that's that's in there. So hopefully that site, which is a blight in that downtown area, can someday be repurposed. So thank you very much, Bill. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Tonight. Okay, is there any other new business?
New business?
Councilor Lapierre.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I would like to make a motion to have the purchasing department put out a request for proposal on a new senior center in Lynn.
Second.
Motion's been made, seconded by Councilor Walsh. I'd like to add that that Attorney Lamanna crafted this, sent it out. Some folks that are involved in this, particularly Chris Gomez, and knows with the senior center, Councilor Chakutis, we're all in favor of getting this out sooner rather than later, so we can finally get some moving done on a new senior center for our seniors in Lynn. So I appreciate you crafting that, Attorney Lamanna, and hopefully we can get it out. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Okay, is there any other business? Council Walsh.
I'd like to make a motion to set down a public hearing for the Article 97 legislation for Linwood's conservation restriction.
Second.
Motion been made, seconded by Council Lapierre. Again, Attorney Lamanna updated us all on this last month. It's been something that's been going on for quite some time, and it's time to bring this to a head via the public hearing at our next meeting. So, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Is there any other business?
Should we adjourn?
Motion made.
Second.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Ways and Meeting Committee meeting. Madam Clerk, please roll call.
Counsel Net?
Present.
Present Counsel Staben?
Present.
Present Counsel Barton? Absent Counsel Chakutis?
Present.
Present Counsel Seer? Absent.
Could you please read the transfer?
We have $73 from the police department expense to the police department prior year bills to fund invoice received after the cleanup warrant and the FY end close process began.
What's the committee?
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton, absent. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer, absent. $647 from the care of dog expense to the care of dogs prior year bills to fund an invoice received after the cleanup warrant done and the FY end close process began.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton, absent. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer, absent. You have certified funds?
Yes.
$4,687,776 to the school department for the FY22 FC 240 SPED grant.
What is the wish committee?
Second.
Can I hear a second?
Counsel Net?
Oh, roll call, yes. Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton, absent. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer, absent. $13,000 to the Food Security Task Force to provide the framework for any future binding contract regarding the Project Bread community partnerships between FSTF and TFP.
Motion approved.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton, absent. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer, absent. $20,000 to the DPW to support the greening of the Gateway Cities program.
What's the wish committee?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer absent. $49,823 to the Police Department to support the FFY '22 Municipal Road Safety Program.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer absent. $200,000 to the School Department for the FY '22 Comprehensive School Health Services Grant.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer absent. $5,524,602 to the School Department for the FY '22 FC 305 Title I Grant.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer absent.
Mr. Spencer, is any emergency? No emergency. Okay. Any new business?
No new business.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, you got it. Thank you.
Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Present.
President Counsel Chakutis?
Present.
President Counsel Calucci?
Present.
President Counsel Field?
Present.
President Counsel Hogan?
Present.
President Counsel LaPierre?
Present.
President Counsel Lozey? President Counsel Net?
Present.
President Counsel Staben? President Counsel Walsh?
Present.
President Counsel Seer?
President, before I ask everyone to stand for a moment of silence, I just want to say that last week we lost Albie Waldron, 97-plus years old, fixture in the city politics, been here many years. Many of us have worked with him on different committees, different campaigns. Really good guy. Also, Al Mel Griffith's wife passed away yesterday. Al was the principal, and he's done so many things for so many people in this community. He's helped so many different students throughout the years. He's given a lot to the community. His family has given up, many moments of personal life with Al so that he could service the community. So I just want to reach out to both those families and ask for a moment of silence. Please, everyone rise for a moment of silence.
Mr. President, remember Rita Godbout and the Godbout family, please?
Also to the family of Ray Mackey and the Mackey family.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America,
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Accept the minutes from the September 7th meeting.
Yes, sir.
Motion made, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Communications,
We have no communications.
public hearings.
First public hearing is an order that $14,150,991 is appropriated to pay costs of designing and replacing the windows and doors at the Lynn Vocational Technical Institute and Field House located at 80 Neptune Boulevard, Lynn, Massachusetts, including the payment of all costs incidental and related thereto the project, which project would materially extend the useful life of the school facility and preserve assets that otherwise are capable of supporting the required educational programs, and for which the city may be eligible for a grant from the Massachusetts Building Authority, the MSBA, and said appropriation shall be expended under the direction of the School Building Committee, that to meet this appropriation, the city treasurer, with the approval of the mayor, is authorized to borrow said amount under Chapter 44, or with approval of the mayor, is authorized to borrow said amount under Chapter 44 or Chapter 70B of the general laws, or pursuant to any other enabling authority, and to issue bonds or notes of the city thereof. The city acknowledges that the MSBA's grant program is a non-entitlement discretionary program based on need as determined by the MSBA, and any project cost the city incurs in excess of any grant funds that may be approved by and received from the MSBA shall be the sole responsibility of the city. The amount of borrowing if authorized pursuant to this loan order shall be reduced by any grant amount received by the city pursuant to the project funding agreement that may be executed between the city and the MSBA for the project. Further ordered, any premium received by the city upon the sale of any bonds or notes approved by this order, less than any premium applied to the payment of the cost of issuance of such bonds or notes, may be applied to the payment of costs approved by this order in accordance with Chapter 44, Section 20 of the general laws, thereby reducing the amount authorized to be borrowed to pay such costs by a like amount. Further ordered that the treasurer is authorized to file an application with the appropriate officials of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to qualify under Chapter 44A of the general laws of any and all bonds of the city authorized to be borrowed pursuant to this loan order, and to provide any information and execute such documents as such officials of the Commonwealth may require in connection therewith.
Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. What is the wish of the council?
Approve.
Motion made, seconded, discussion, roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Starbird?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes, next public hearing.
We have the petition of Grace City Church, East Coast International Church at 31 Stetson Street for retail use for a thrift boutique shop called The Loft at Stetson.
Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Please state your name and your address.
Kurt Lang, 17 Pine Road, Lynn. This is a matter of needing to move the zoning back to business use. That's it.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. Councilor Jacutis.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion, roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Starbird?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes, next public hearing.
We have the petition of East Coast International Church, the Haven Project, to create 24 studio units of affordable housing in the vacant third and fourth floor at 57 Monroe Street.
Anyone wishing to speak in favor?
Kurt Lang, 17 Pine Road. These 57 Monroe Street, this is where East Coast International Church is located on the first floor. Also, Land of a Thousand Hills Coffee Company on the first floor. The second floor we occupy. The third and fourth floors, we are developing the housing units for young adults ages 18 to 24. We'll be giving preferential treatment to those that are homeless or housing at risk and Lynn residents as part of our request. These will be supported by 23 housing vouchers from the state, and we are looking to begin construction mid next year.
Thank you, Pastor Kurt. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? You're saying you wish to speak in favor, Jeffrey? We want to welcome Jeffrey back to the chambers. He hasn't been here in a long time. I'm going to ask him to be brief.
Honest to God, Jeffrey Eric Yaffa, 500 Essex Street in Lynn, Massachusetts. I usually don't do this, but where I had the pleasure of him working and coaching me for a long time over there, if he has a plan and it's a good project, I'm just saying I would be in favor just on what he would have to say and his experience in that field. Honest to God, I mean that, okay?
Thank you, Jeffrey. Appreciate your briefness. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition?
Sarah Schreiner, 170 Oxford Street. I'm directly across from the church. I will say that I volunteered for them for a long time. I have some concerns about the level of substance abuse that's going along in our neighborhood. And right now, I live directly across the street from a Vivitrol clinic. My kids see needles every single day. Every single day. I have pictures on my phone of people shooting up at our dumpster. I don't think that this is the time to put more at-risk kids in that neighborhood. The drugs are accessible. They're everywhere. This is not going to help. I am so sick of my kids picking up and seeing needles. I'm a registered nurse. I deal with overdoses all day long, all week long. This is not the appropriate use of this space. When I volunteered for them, that is not what I thought this space was going to be used for. These are just more at-risk youth that we're putting in the center of drug haven. It's disgusting. I'm tired. I've been a resident of Lynn for 5 years. I moved here from Los Angeles. I'm from Philadelphia. I know what it's like to live in a city. This is not it. I have pictures of people shooting up at my dumpsters when I took my trash out that I had my 3- and 4-year-old with me. I'm tired. I don't think bringing in more at-risk youth is the answer. What is the supervision going to be like? Because the way it was presented when I saw it was that this was more of a dormitory situation. And this doesn't sound like a dormitory, not if they're studios. I'm tired. I'm tired of the drugs. I'm sick of it. And I just think that's going to bring in more. They don't have jobs. They're getting vouchers from the city or the state. Who's paying for it? What's the motivation to get a job? Believe me, I support these kids. I am 8 years in recovery myself. I get it. 100% I get it. My kids are in state custody. They are both born addicted to drugs. Not from me, from their birth mother. I'm their adoptive mom. I just can't see bringing in more at-risk youth. I can't. It just doesn't feel like the right time. What's the plan? What's the plan to make sure that they enter clean and leave clean? If there's a plan, I'm all in. But I want a plan to know that they're going to be clean while they're there, that there's some kind of supervision, that there's some kind of support for their sobriety. If that's the case, I'm all in, 100%. I love this organization. I love the things they've done. I am just not sure that it will be monitored and that it will be safe for my kids. I need a babysitter. I'm all in, I promise. But I need a plan to know that these kids are going to be sober when they get there and sober when they leave.
Thank you. Anyone else? You tell us how you were going to monitor it.
Yep.
I don't know if you want to express that or if any of the other councilors.
Sure. The
It's at an all-time high. It's as bad as I've ever seen it. We regularly down there. This is. Yeah, sorry. Thank you.
We have not had time to do so yet.
And I appreciate your ability to come here and not know what we're going to ask you, and to be able to respond to it. And I don't want you to tell me things that I want to hear. I want you to tell me the things that